Have you ever felt the overwhelming fear of being isolated by the majority? Have you ever held your tongue in fear of your thoughts and ideas being rejected? These are real thoughts and fears, and if you're feeling them, you are not alone. At some point in life, we all feel a sense of fear that our opinions will be rejected by our peers. It can range from a wide array of topics, but the feeling is always negative, and oftentimes extremely so. The spiral of silence is a theory that explains the process by which one opinion becomes dominant, and those who perceive their opinion to be in the minority do not speak up because society threatens them with isolation. However, a person's assessment of these feelings may not always be correct. Elizabeth Noel Newman developed this theory in 1974 as an attempt to explain how public opinion is formed. There is no set definition of public opinion because it is seemingly unexplainable. However, it is still a prominent idea that everyone generally understands and accepts. Newman wondered why certain people supported certain things, when in fact, they didn't at all believe them. The model associated with this theory is very simple. The small pointed bottom signifies the minority who hardly speaks out, and the spiral growing bigger signifies being in the majority and not being afraid to speak your thoughts and opinions. The three necessary conditions for when the spiral of silence can occur are: the issue must have a moral component to it, there was a clear public opinion, and broad mass media coverage. A few areas where people tend to hold back opinions are discussions over political affiliations, religious views, and personal finances. One big idea associated with this theory is that of jumping on the bandwagon. Because a person is in the minority and doesn't want their peers to realize that, they ultimately conform to the ideas of others. There are so many instances in our everyday lives where we are likely jumping on the bandwagon without even realizing it. This spiral of silence is such a large part of us that we no longer think twice about it. We don't care that we're suppressing our own voice. A prime example is the classroom. Teachers have a noticeable influence over students because the students' future success in the class, and even their GPA, depends on them. At least this is the idea that students have oftentimes. They have the mindset that agreeing with the teacher will gain likability, which in turn will positively affect the way a teacher views their work in the class. Although this may not be true, it is still an important thought that goes through a student's mind and influences how they participate in said class. Another example is the movie Mean Girls. Katie Heron is thrown into a new school where she just wants to make friends. The friends she initially makes urge her to become quote-unquote friends with the plastics for all the wrong reasons, and she ends up becoming the type of person that she intended to bring down. She starts to fit in with the masses, the people that, in public opinion, are the ones to be associated with if you want to be noticed. She isn't being herself when she starts dressing the way they dress. She isn't being herself when she intentionally fails math while actually being good at it. And she isn't being herself when she writes those comments in the burn book about a teacher she actually likes. No one ever thought the beloved movie was actually teaching you the spiral of silence. There is, however, one place where people are a little less likely to hold their opinions back, and this is social media. Social media gives regularly voiceless people a chance to state their opinion because there is a larger audience, and with a larger audience, you are bound to find people with your same beliefs. It is a medium for people to fight back without actually being seen. The fear of isolation is much more frightening when physically face-to-face with the majority. Now that you're realizing the influence of the spiral of silence, you may be feeling overwhelmed at how often you keep your thoughts and ideas in your own head. Isolation is a prominent fear, but if you're sick of not being heard, then stop falling into the trap. People will always be there to bring you down and make themselves out to be superior, especially if they are in the majority, but that doesn't mean your opinion is wrong. These opinions are in existence for one reason: to be had. So don't be afraid to raise your hand. Speak out. Understanding how the spiral of silence affects your life means you can do something to change it. Your opinion is real and it is valid, so express that. Holding back only makes you feel worse, and if it's worth caring about a certain person's opinion, they will respect yours.